proud and happy about the young filmmakers, actors, singers, writers, producers that are coming up behind my generation. In particular, Barry Jenkins. Young people understand this young man made 10, 15, 20 short films before he got the opportunity to make Moonlight. So never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. If it was easy, there'd be no Kerry Washington. If it was easy, there'd be no Taraji Henson, Pete Henson. If it were easy, there'd be no Octavia Spencer. But not only that, if it were easy, there'd be no Viola Davis. If it were easy, there'd be no Michael T. Williamson, no Stephen McKinley Henderson, no Russell Hornsby. If it were easy, there'd be no Denzel Washington. So keep working, keep striving, never give up, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. So keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the studios of 104.9 FM, 1490 AM, making an impact, your musical inspiration connection. You can contact us on the web at www.gospeljoy1490.net, or you can like us on our Facebook live page of Rejoice Gospel Joy. You also can find the No Covers show on my page, Dawood El-Amin, and also the No Covers page. Hey, Nicole, how you doing? I see my Facebook live audience is coming in. Back into the studios again. Take a week off. Call-in line today is 910-248-3403, 910-248-3403 if you'd like to call in and make comments today, and I'll keep posting that number as we go through today's show. Getting myself back settled again. We had to take a week off. Just had to get some head clearing, some things together. When you lose a great person like we did in Harvard Jennings, it just didn't feel comfortable being on the mic for a minute. Just had to go and reflect, get some thoughts together, but he would have wanted us to move on, so that's what we're doing. We're moving forward. He would always want us to, he made me make some promises, and I always wanted to make sure we stay on these microphones and help support this station. I want you all to also do that. During this holiday season, when it comes to talking about giving and advertisements, remember 104.9 FM and 1490 AM. The reason why this is key is because these airways allow us. Good afternoon, Nicole. How you doing? Hey, Vanessa, how you doing? Good to see you back on the line. These airways allow us to bring information to you that might not necessarily get to you by another medium. Having a strong radio station, being able to be on this air, being able to be on this mic for 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, to talk and bring about issues that we don't get to talk about anywhere else. We did to talk about it on Facebook, but that gives us a chance to interact with our Facebook audience, with our writing audience. It's lunchtime. Some people are going to lunch right now. We're able to talk to them about some serious matters. So to get started and get ready to go really into the new year, I want to make a commitment to you that No Covers, I've decided to make a change. Not really a change. I've decided to go back to the basics. I've decided that I have been doing a disservice to some of you in the listening audience and some of you that have been following No Covers for several years now. I think I first did the first No Cover show on Blog Talk Radio in 2004. 2005, we started first doing Blog Talk radios and start trying to get messages out there. I've been doing a bit of disservice. And I say that to say that I'm going to start focusing directly. When I come to this mic, I'm going to have direct information to give to you. Right now, I want to focus up for the next, really the next quarter of time going into the new year. There's three areas I want to focus on. And those areas are family, education, and wealth, or economics, as we may call it. I want us to focus on these areas because I think, and I really strongly feel that those three areas are the most challenging areas for our community moving forward. Our families are destroyed. The education that our children are getting is below level, it's not adequate, and they're not being treated right in the school system. And I know y'all got great hope that the new school board would change things, but hope is going to have to change from beyond that. And the last thing I want to talk about is economics, or our wealth. I want to talk about politics. I want to talk about religion. I want to talk about families. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about wealth. And this is going to be a kind of a coded for no covers going forward. No covers going forward. Those are because you can be all over the map and not get anything done. So going forward, what I want to do is I want to be specific in certain areas and get. Then that doesn't mean I'm not going to talk about politics down the road, or not going to talk about sports if you relate to what's going on in the world, or not going to talk about other issues. But I want to start focusing on some key issues so we can get some things done in those areas. I want to give you some. I want to do with families and just give you some background why I want to get into these subjects. When we look at the family, when we look at the family unit, I'm talking about the Black family unit. And I'm gonna use that word a lot, and I'm not gonna be apologizing when I use the word Black, and I want to talk about the Black family. I get so fed up with somebody told me today there is no different races, there's only a human race. Really? It's easy for someone to say that there is only one race, a human race, when you're benefiting as the race in power. That's easy for you to say. And I'm not going to apologize for wanting to focus on my particular people. I shouldn't have to, because we are way behind in a lot of areas. Almost 70% of Black children are born in single mothers. 70%, that's 25%. But just think about that for a second. We talk about families, we're talking about family structure. 70% of all children that are Black are born to single mothers. That's not saying there's a father somewhere, that's saying they're born to single mothers. They're born out of wedlock. They're born out of a relationship existing. They're born to single mothers. That's some statistic that we really need to look at within our community. There were many key factors to look at. We can look at the fact that Black men are getting locked up more. We can look at the fact that we don't have, the jobs are not there. And we can look at the fact that we got a new catchphrase. Someone said it the other day. I was reading the writing. He said, only in the Black community do we say, I don't need a man. That's the only place that women will say, only community that says that I don't need a man. So Jewish women don't say it. Hispanic women don't say it. Arab women don't say it. I don't need a man. But 70% of our children are being born to single mothers. And what is that producing? We have to add, when we look at statistics and we look at the situation, we have to be clear and ask, how did we get there? How do we get to the point that there are no men in the house? Do anybody remember the no man in the house rule? So I'm gonna give you some historical, as I lay these arguments out, as we deal with the family, I'm gonna give you some historical data. Does anyone remember the no man in the house rule? That the public service, the Department of DSS had a rule that if you had a man in the house and he was giving you anything of kind of assistance, that you automatically got denied service. Remember the movie Claudine? When she had James Earl Jones hiding a toaster and hiding all the appliances that he had brought the family? This was an actual rule, and it circulated for years. 1968 is when it stopped, but the effects were already there. That 10 to 15 years later, it went around and circled and circled and circled, and now we're looking at a destroyed Black family. When I look at the family today, we don't eat together anymore. Do you remember when we used to sit down at a kitchen table and eat dinner as a family? When we used to pray over the food as a family? When you got up on Sunday morning, you put your church clothes on and went to church as a family? That was the unit that I grew up with. We're talking about, I'm only 55 years old. That's how we grew up. You put your Sunday best on and you went in the car and you rode to church as a family unit. And if there was a father's missing in the neighborhood, there were always surrogate fathers, a father that stepped in the place of the father. I remember in my neighborhood, I had a father in the house. So my father ended up being the father for other children that didn't have fathers. A bike got broke, they always came to my house. Cars need to be fixed, they always came to my house. The plumbing went out, they always came and got my father. Nothing else involved, just a man to help out in the neighborhood. We had extended families. What's happening now is we have patterned, let me get, because I'm going to stay on this family thing, because I want to say family education and wealth. I'm going to show you how this affects. We used to have extended families. And what has happened now is we pattern, see, we got out into the integration process. We patterned the model family as the Leave It to Beaver family. And based on what was going on with the government and society, the Black family didn't evolve that way. The Black family has evolved now to the point that most of the time when a young man wants to marry a woman in the Black neighborhood, and also all other neighborhoods as well, but primarily in our neighborhood, when a young man wants to get engaged or wants to marry or bring together a family, he normally has to bring in 2 other families at the same time, or 3 or 4. There's some other people involved. We call it blended families. And so when you see the destruction of the Black family, it's because we are not recognizing blended families, and we're allowing our family structure to be operating in a European standard, if you understand what I mean. And when that happens, children get left out. I had a friend who had a father, and he was so angry with his father because when he would go to school, there were other children in the school that were his, what we call, the society called half brothers and sisters. And his father had spent more time with those children that even though he was the firstborn of his father and named after his father, he didn't have the resources that the other children had, because when the father left, he moved on. When the father left to go to another situation, he moved on. That destroys a lot of our family structure. We cannot operate in the matrix of divorce and move on. We cannot, because when we do so, we're leaving children in the lurch, and we're leaving families in the lurch, and the family still has to be a unit. We have to learn how to operate under a different paradigm, a different matrix called blended families. Because our families are not interacting, they're not coming together. Well, it's a perfect time to talk about it around Christmas, because y'all gonna get real phony during the Christmas holidays. How you doing, Sheila? Oh, y'all gonna get real phony. So you're not operating as a family because you really don't care one day, because there's no love there. There used to be love in the family. When you look at those the old shows, the good shows, I always loved the good times. There was love in that house. There was discipline in that house. There was a hierarchy in that house. There was structure in that house. We don't have that no more, folks. The destruction of the family is leading directly to the miseducation of our children. I'm gonna tie it all in. I'm gonna tie it all in the next couple of months. If you'll just hang in with me, I'm writing on it right now as we speak. The destruction is leading to our children going and being sent off to school every morning 3 steps behind before they even get out the door. Because the family structure is not tight as it was when we came up. The mother who doesn't need a man is busy working 2, 3 jobs to take care of the family, or the father who's not there is busy running everywhere else and not going home to help support the mother who's raising the children. Still a family. It's just a blended family. Just because you're not married, you got children. That's a family. A piece of paper don't make you a family. Commitment and responsibility to children is what makes a family. I'm gonna say that again. A piece of paper does not make you a family. A marriage certificate doesn't make you a family. Having children produces a family. Being committed to someone is a family. Having taken care of your responsibility is what it means to be a family. So what we do is we have a cycle, or we have to fix. I'm starting religion, education, and then wealth. Family. I'm sorry, I said no religion. Family, education, and then wealth. Now, if you want to add the politics and the religion, put it with the family. Put the politics with the education. And then put the religion and politics also with the wealth. But put them in the mix. Don't make them the top list, make them in the mix. So take the family back to prayer again. Take the family back to getting up on Sunday morning, putting your clothes on, getting dressed, going to church, come home, have a Sunday dinner. If you do it once a week, maybe you might start doing it on Tuesday, and you might get another one in on Thursday. Try it. Try cutting the idiot box off at an early age. Don't let our children be hooked on video games and TV shows to occupy their mind. Put some books back on your shelf in the house. Take your children to the library. Let them read and carry a book around in their pocket on the bus going to school in the morning. You got to take it back. We got to get the family back in order. If we don't get the family back in order, the education is, see, you're sending them on the bus to go to school to get education. The school system is going to do exactly what it's designed to do, and that is destroy your children. So if you know, I say if you know that, but you don't know that. You actually believe, your hopeology actually believe you're putting the children on the bus and they're going to get a fair shake. They're not. You have to get back and repair that family. When I mean repair the family, I don't mean you got to go back over and live with her and he has to come live with you. But if that child is involved, he has to spend some time and you have to spend some time. And you all as a blended family have to come up with a concrete schedule for their education. If you have to chip your money in together, you have to figure out where to send them this summer educational wise. But instead of leaving them at home and let them sit in the house all day long. And he has to pay half and you have to pay half. And if he's gone on about his business and he's got more children and you've gone about your business, you've got more children, you still got to take care of the children. Yours is his and his is yours. That's called blended families. It's as simple as that. If we don't get that in our mind, we're going to continue to keep breaking these families up and destroying these children, and it's tearing them up educationally. Because what happens? They're not being educated at home. You were expecting the school system to educate them by putting them on a yellow bus and send them off to school. It's not going to happen, folks. It's not going to happen. African-American students are nearly 4 times as likely as their white classmates to be suspended from school. 4 times as likely. Why? Because they're coming to school already upset because the structure of home is messed up. I'm coming to school with an attitude from the giddy up. The achievement gap between white students and black students has barely narrowed in the last 50 years. These are statistics, folks. The achievement gap is barely narrowed in the last 50 years, and our children keep getting kicked out of school. And we keep sending them there, and we're not preparing them at home. And that's why we broke, huh? That's why we have $1 trillion spending power, because we're not educated properly. We waste every dime of it. income. Because see, all this family leads to education, which leads to income. The medium income household income. Now we're running half on medium household income. Blacks is $35,000. Hispanics $42,000. They done came in and move you out, income wise, because they'll get up there. They're out there on the roofs right now, putting them shingles up, working. $35,000 for blacks, $42,000 for white, and $60,000 for white. Now that's medium household income. Now let me show you how this works from families where a family structure where the child goes off to school and gets educated properly, or goes home, comes home and be educated first, and then see, you're just going to school to get the piece of paper. If you educate them right at home when they go to school, it's already just arithmetic test and get the test and go home and go to school, get another piece. You're just going to school to get the piece of paper. You're educating them properly. You're training them properly. Train up a child in the way you should go. There was train up a child in the way you should go. Let me show you what it leads to. Something I love to talk about. Medium household wealth. For blacks, the medium household wealth, I'm not talking about income, I'm talking about what you got saved up in the bank. I'm talking about the house that you ain't paying for. I'm talking about the land that you don't own under your feet, $11,000. The medium household wealth for whites is $134,000. Medium household wealth for blacks, your ownership, what you own, what you have. Them clothes depreciate quick, their cars depreciate quick, but you're not, because you haven't been educated properly, because you didn't get educated right. $11,000 medium wealth. $134,000 for whites. $11,000 for blacks. You bringing in half the money that whites are bringing in. You remember, your income was $35,000, theirs was $60,000. So you're bringing in half the money. But I see some tears. The sad part about it is you only keeping $11,000 of yours in wealth. $134,000 they keeping. Why? Because they not buying the newest car. They're not buying the newest tennis shoe out. They're not sending their children to school for a fashion show. They're sending their children to school to get educated. So they don't have to have the newest sneaker that's out, the newest clothing out, the newest pocketbook to put around their shoulder. They're sending them to be educated. You're sending yours to be entertained. They go to be educated. You go for entertainment. They don't have to go to the newest movie that comes out. They can just wait to get it on a DVD or catch it on a channel. We're traveling, we're spending, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses. And the Joneses got $134,000 wealth, and we're trying to keep up with them at $11,000 worth. We're not saving anything in the bank. It's called general wasteful wealth. Michael just asked the question, how much of that 11K is passed down? They passed down most of it. It's called generational wealth. When our folks, when we die, we hope the mortgage is paid off. I hope we're not still renting. Brenda Dixon has workshop after workshop about home ownership. And if you're not trying to buy your home, something is wrong with you. You have to pay, you have to own the place you live. Stop renting. But that's where the education comes in at. You want to give your child something for Christmas? Give them a bank account. Give them a bank account. Give them a CD. Invest in some stocks. Buy them a passport. Or just your Christmas shopping time, right? Christmas shopping. Everybody buy your children a passport. A Christmas gift. They open the gift. You can buy them some other stuff, but some basic stuff. Buy them a passport. invest in some stocks for them and put them away. Something they can't touch, something they can't sell. Invest in their future. Put something away for them. And then get some trinkets and spread around the tree, all little stuff. Mike said, it's a direct result of us not having life insurance. Oh, Mike, the insurance man coming from we run. Policy ain't paid up. A lot of families find that out at the wrong time, that the policy wasn't paid up. Too late then. When I look at 71% home ownership as compared to 42% home ownership. And it's not because we've not, and I'm tired of saying, it's not because we poor, because I see us spending money. It's not because we poor. Because we're not educated. Family, education, wealth. Family, education, wealth. God on top of family, put that in there. Spirituality of the family, got to put it in there. Because our family's messed up because we aren't God-centered. We done gave up on God. We don't even know how to put him into place. We got all these newfound beliefs and all this new technology in our mind, and we don't know that we got the flat earth around, you know, all that mess, man. All these new concepts we done came up on the internet. No. Let's think about what I'm saying. As we go into this new year of harvesting, what are you taking into the new year? And if your savings is going to be empty at the end of the year, I need you to stop spending money right now. Just tell the kids, Santa just got shot. If you're not taking anything in the new year and you're leaving everything on the table, just so we can have, I know you're saying, I can hear it. Well, you know, it was the hurricane, it's been some sad times and we've been having it hard, so we just want the kids to have a good Christmas. If you're leaving it all on the table and not taking anything over in 2019, you ain't heard a word I said. We have to stop that process. We have to stop going into January 2019 waiting for that first check because we done got backlogged. I'm not against it. Y'all, they want to play it. I don't have a problem with it. That's what you want to do. I'm not gonna knock your Christmas. I'm not gonna shoot your son. I just never had him. Never been a part of my life. Yeah, that's one thing I do thank my father and mother for. My father didn't. And then I'm gonna tell you how it worked. There's a lot of things I used to beat my family up as a child. I used to miss a lot of things because of the way I grew up. Didn't have a lot of birthdays. Didn't have birthdays. Period. Didn't have the holidays. Period. But as a child, I watched we lived in projects. We lived in Newport News, called projects, called Newsom Park. We lived in Newsom Park. We lived in kind of middle. And I was me, my brother, and mother and father, four of us in the house. And my father used to work us a lot, you know, cutting grass on the weekend, going out raking. We used to go with him and do floors at night for some of the others. He was a welder, but he always had a side job. He always what we call a hustle. Always had something going on. And so I never experienced sometimes childhood things you want for Christmas, Halloween. We didn't do all that. But what I did see him do is every Saturday morning, every Saturday evening, he would get up, he would go ride, and sometimes he'd ride me in the car, and he was looking at something. And what I was blessed to be able to do was at 16 years old, move into a home that we bought. Because my father, even though he was a welder working in the shipyard or welding, he was economically sound because he wanted to one day own his house. Why? Because his father owned his house. Why? Because my mother's mother owned her house. And he came from a family where you brought your house and owned your house. So it was a sound logic principle. That yes, we're living here in the hood now, but we're moving out of the hood and moving into home ownership at a certain time. And so that's what I mean by going into 2019. We have to go in with a different mindset. First, get the family back together. I don't care how you do it, because you're wasting a lot of money as split up, divided families. You trying to live right, this one trying to live right. Look, if you don't, I had an uncle that didn't get along. They were never divorced. We never knew it. They lived in the same house. He lived upstairs, she lived up downstairs. They took care of my cousin in the middle. He grew up fine and well. She took care of her part of the bills. He took care of their part of the bills. They go their way. But they made sure they were both in the household for their child. They made sure he was always around. He always knew where they were at. We've got to find a way to fix these broken families, because it's leading to a broken education. Again, you cannot depend on the school system to educate. You got to go back. Hooked on phonics, hooked on whatever. These children can be geniuses. You got them running around with everything in their hand but a book at 4. Children can read at 4, 5, 6. They can read. Get them educated early on. Get them hooked on the thought of learning, the beauty of learning something new every day early on. To this day, I do it. I mean, I study. Y'all catch me up late night a lot of times. A lot of times I'm studying late night. Just pick a subject. Australia. I just go pick up Australia and go Google it. Read all I can. I was reading something on Flint. Not Flint, Michigan, some Flint. I picked up the material Flint. I wanted to read up. Where it come from, how it's created. Anything. You can pick the things out there, stuff that's just read. And I mean, God, you have Google, you have internet. Mixed with these phones, use them for more than talking trash on Facebook. Please, good Lord. Post something educational wise on your page, please. Something that relevant. Families, education, and wealth. 2019, folks, that's what I'm going into. I want y'all to ride with me. I'm gonna have a show dedicated on families one day, a show dedicated on education one day, a show dedicated on wealth one day. Changing the format. I want to talk about families. I want to talk about education. I want to talk about wealth. I'm going to give you the tools to help educate your children. I had 4 graduate from the early college. I know what I'm talking about. I had 4 graduate from the early college. I have 2 more down in Fayetteville that's on the early college track as well. And both of them play the violin. One plays the guitar, the other plays violin. He switched. Musicians at the same time. Speak another language. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And not always in the same household. I'm just committed to their education, that I give the mothers the tools to make sure that they can still educate my children and that my children still stay educated. Families are not always going to work out. Marriages are not always going to be pretty clear. They ain't going to be, the Huxtables. It's not going to be all Christine, but it still can work for the children. We just have to use our mind and figure out how to work within these blended family structures, because these broken down families are messing with the education of our children. And we have to educate them. Not a school system, not a teacher who makes $30,000 a year could care less. Think about it. Would you go, if you had heart condition, to a surgeon that was working out of an old raggedy office in an alley? You go to the doctor's office, first thing around, you start looking around. And if he come out with old equipment and it's all messed up, you start thinking quick, how long are you gonna stay there? These teachers make $30,000, sometime less. And you really expect you're gonna get a good education? You get what you pay for. The government, you're getting what you pay for. It's not that white children are smarter. It's more white teachers there, and they're going to take more emphasis on that student than yours. And they're coming more prepared when they go to school because the numbers I just gave you. to trickle-down effect, folks. It starts with family, and then it goes to education, and then it becomes wealth. Going into the new year, Mike, 100 for 1,000. I got to talk about that. We're off the air for today. 100 for 1,000. We're trying to 100. I got you, Mike. We're trying to get in. We did 100 people. Let's go ahead and put it out there. Going into the new year, we're gonna start this thing back up. Sheila's on the air. Sheila's Cars, one of our members. She's on there too. We want 100 people to $1,000. We're gonna create some wealth for you. Save $1,000. Come on, talk to us. We need 100 people that got $1,000. We're gonna sit down collectively, take that money, leverage it, put the first 100,000 to work, and then we'll go get another 1,000. Leverage it. It's gonna take trust, folks. Mike is gonna take trust. Sheila is gonna take trust. Leverage it. Go get another 100,000. Leverage it and go get another 100,000. Family, education, wealth. That's all I want to talk about. I don't want to hear nothing else about what 45 doing. I'll talk about it, Mike. But I'm not dependent on 2020. I'm dependent on family, education, and wealth. And then whatever happens 2020, if we take care of the family and bring it back together, if we get our children properly educated with the right education, even if we got to start opening some weekend schools and have some classes on Saturday morning and put them back in Sunday school at the church. If we take care of, get our strong family back together and get that unit tight and take care of the education of our children, it's going to produce wealth. And once it produces wealth, 45, 46, 47, and 48 can do whatever they want to do. They can't touch this. If I got a strong family and a good education, I got wealth, and you can't touch this. 45, 46, 47, 48 can do whatever they want to after that. But if you got a strong family, you got education, then you're automatically going to have wealth because you're going to know how to spend your money wisely. You're going to have to control your spending right, and you're going to know how to invest right. And then once you have that, he can do what he want to do. Politics, he can do what they want to do. Because they're going to do that anyway. I'll talk about it. I'm not putting hope in it. I'm putting hope in family and education and wealth. Going into 2019. This is No Covers. I'm out, y'all. Peace and blessings.